Shannons Club TV, the show for all motoring enthusiasts to indulge the passion we all share for cars and motorcycles. If you're not yet a Shannons Club member, you can sign up free on the website, where you can also catch up on previous episodes.
Coming up, we'll bring you the latest market trends from the Shannons auctions team, plus a rare opportunity for an up-close look at our feature car with a proud owner. Right now though, the sedan that combined top-shelf British motoring in an everyday family car, the Triumph 2000.
The Triumph 2000 was the Standard Motor Company's long overdue replacement for the Vanguard 6. It was an emphatic response to the question, if this is the standard Vanguard, where is the deluxe version? The word standard in global car markets would more often refer to the cheapest and meanest model in a range. The new Triumph 2000 with its refined feel and luxury cabin was anything but standard, hence its equally new name. Thanks to a big injection of Leyland funds, the Triumph 2000 went from a sketch in 1961 to its 1963 launch in just over 2 years. After the model survived from 1963 until its local withdrawal in 1978 with only superficial changes, it proved one of the most successful rearguard actions in automotive history. Its Michelotti styling was brilliant, straight out of the box, and the sweet 2-litre 6 that matched the output of a typical 2.5-litre 6 with better fuel economy helped define a new class of car. Offering clear advantages over bigger 4-cylinder models, the Triumph 2000 also gave buyers a taste of top-shelf British models without the cost or complexity. Its tough new unitary body featured double-jointed independent rear suspension when swing axles were still the norm. You normally wouldn't choose to go racing or rallying in a luxury family car powered by a tiny 2-litre 6. But by early 1960 standards, Mark, this was not a normal car.
No, it was outstanding, wasn't it? By early 1960 standards, I mean, you stack it up against a local car like an EJ Premier. I mean, this thing, really strong unitary body construction, 4-wheel independent suspension, front disc brakes, rack and pinion steering, 4-speed manual gearbox. This thing was loaded. I mean, it was sort of like a sports car in a sedan body sort of feel, and it's no surprise that they wanted to compete in it.
And no, I think that's very much what it was.
Yeah.
Local assembly by Australian Motor Industries maintained its upmarket feel at a particularly keen price. The Triumph 2000 did not need explaining to buyers who grew up with the flexibility and smoothness of a small Holden 6. Triumph then offered the finishing touches as standard, including superior seats, genuine wood trim and carpet inside, front disc brakes, 4-speed manual, 4 headlights, and a presentation that didn't date. Triumph constantly refined the cabin appointments and presentation. The 1969 local release of the 2.5 PI fuel-injected version again offered new technology and refinement not seen at this level before. The Mark II facelift on its local 1970 release was clever. It freshened up the entire car without undermining its traditional appeal. It was not surprising that Australians kept buying the final 2500 versions 8 years later, 12 months after UK production had ended. Mark, it's just amazing how relevant this unassuming Triumph sedan remained over its 15-year model life. It was the same in competition.
Yeah, that's right, and that spanned the globe, you know, from international rallying to the Bathurst 500. The Triumph 2000 sedan was a rugged and spirited performer, well suited to long-distance rallying in the 1960s. Its enduring career as a factory-backed car on the international rally stage commenced in 1964 with the 2000 Mark I and culminated with the fuel-injected 2.5 PI in the 1970 World Cup Rally. The Triumph 2000 also competed for several years in the annual Bathurst 500 endurance race for production cars at Mount Panorama, where in 1966 it achieved a best result of 3rd in class. Fittingly, the definitive 2.5 PI Mark II represented the British mark in the Rorty sedan's final Bathurst appearance in 1970. However, by then, limited build Bathurst specials like Chrysler's 4-barrel Hemi Pacer ensured Triumph's days as a Class D contender were over. Joe, I had my first and only drive of a mint 2.5 PI a few years ago, and I remember thinking, Wow, you know, why has it taken me so long to discover these things?
I think we got used to seeing them on the road and not experiencing what they are like. And this is one car you have to experience behind the wheel.
I think you're right.
Britain had to develop cars very quickly for their new network of motorways in the early 60s, and suddenly their priorities became the same as ours. You know, long distance, nice to drive, relaxing. Beautiful car, and a very different proposition from the TR sports cars, which tended to be hairy-chested, old-fashioned sports cars.
Yeah.
This car had all of that driver appeal, but it was refined as well.
Yeah, well said. The highlight of the Triumph 2.5 PI's time on the international rally stage was its runner-up performance in the 1970 World Cup Rally, which covered more than 25,000 kilometres from London to Mexico and is widely regarded as the toughest post-war marathon of them all. British Leyland entered a 4-car team with a star-studded driver lineup and cars that were literally hand-built, incorporating all the specialised design and construction skills that made the company's 1968 London to Sydney Austin 1800s such formidable foes. Like many other competitors, the Works Triumph team suffered heavy losses during the World Cup's arduous final leg through South and Central America, but they still managed to salvage a fighting second place behind the winning Ford Escort. For Leyland's management though, only an emphatic victory could have justified the enormous expense involved. Its response was brutal. The competition department was shut down and the Triumph 2000's days as a factory rally car were over. You can read many other great road and race stories on the Shannons Club website.
My name is Graham Oxley. The car we have featured here today is a 1975 Triumph 2.5 PI sedan. I am the second owner of this car. I bought the car in May '96. When I first bought the car, it was a very bog standard car. It was in automatic transmission form, still with 13-inch wheels, no power steering. And over the years, it's been modified with a manual overdrive gearbox, the mag wheels off a Triumph Stag. The engine has been rebuilt to TR6 spec, which has gone out from 124 horsepower to 150 horsepower. There's been numerous other mods to the suspension and the rear axle assembly with Datsun axle kits. One of my favourite features of this vehicle is the manual overdrive gearbox. Drops the revs from around about 600 revs. When you're in top gear, you can select the overdrive in 3rd and 4th gear. That's a bit of a novelty where the later cars today have a 5-speed gearbox and our cars have the electric overdrive. Triumph featured overdrives on their very early Triumphs back in the late 40s. The appeal with these cars is the interior is very luxurious. It's got the wood grain dash, the wood cappings on the doors. All the wood is colour matched so that each car had a number and the same coloured wood features all around the car. So everything is unique to that particular model car. The cars are very comfortable to drive. They've got fully adjustable steering columns. This particular car has power steering, which I have added to the car. And it's just a really nice car to be seen in on the road. And with the roof back on a sunny day, it is a pleasure. The future for this car is to give it a nice paint job. The engine has currently done 300,000 K very reliably, and this car will be in my home for a long time to come.
Shannon's National Auctions Manager Chris Borrabon joins us. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hello, Mark.
Hi, Chris. Chris, the Triumph 2000 and its many derivatives, car that you don't sort of normally think of as being a collector's car, yet it seems to have all the right ingredients. Is it a car waiting to happen?
Look, it could be. I mean, it's an alternative to a British saloon. Good value for money today. I think that's probably the way to look at it. And as we'll probably talk about the various derivatives of them as well. Practical car, low cost to get into right now, so quite attractive.
It's interesting because some people have referred to it as like a low-cost alternative to a Jaguar. And I guess that was true at the time when it was new, and it still applies now.
Look, it definitely does. I think for what you can pay for a 2000 or 2.5 litre today, far outweighs what a lot of other classics are out there on the market for.
So would it be fair to say it's underappreciated at the moment, do you think?
Look, it probably could be that way. I mean, there is quite a following, I think, in a tight-knit club.
Yeah, within the
scene,
club movement, yeah.
Club movement, but I think, you know, out there in the marketplace, we don't see too many of them. Yep.
I think one of the things that's going for them, Mark, is that most of them were assembled by AMI here.
That's right.
So they came out with good paint. The trim was shared across Toyota and Rambler models, and very good quality. And there are a lot of good ones still around that are still in good order that you don't have to spend a lot of money on and start enjoying them straight away.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Look, a practical classic to take your family or friends out in. You know, the 2.5 litre engines, especially in the PI, had great power.
Yeah, the fuel injected model. Is that considered the most desirable model?
Look, it would have to be. The PI and the S2500S probably about the two most collectible models. Yeah.
And also all the reliability problems that they had at the time, that technology is now normal. You know, fuel injection was very unusual in a car of that price range, whereas every car's got it these days. And so people know a lot more about it, and they've developed fixes over the years. So all those horror stories from the past, they don't so much apply anymore. And there's a good round of specialists too, I think.
Yeah, look, I mean, we've seen, you know, because it shares, I guess, its mechanicals of other Triumph models. So there is probably a good, you know, spare parts inventory for them, and also specialists around Australia to work on them.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
No problem, thank you.
And keep in mind, you can keep up to date with all the latest Shannons auctions news on the Shannons Club website.
If you'd like a lasting memory of any competition cars featured on the show, you'll find them all at autopix.com.au.
It's amazing, Joe, looking back at the Triumph 2000. I mean, all the attributes this car brought, and as an Australian enthusiast, you'd be wondering what happened to Triumph.
It just disappeared, didn't it?
It was incredible.
The really sad thing about all of this, Mark, is that Triumph and Rover, we're finally getting their act together under this British Leyland umbrella, disaster, whatever you want to call it. They finally worked out how they could coexist, but the money ran out. And at the same time, the Japanese were thinking, beaut, there's this market segment that Triumph's prepared. Whoosh, 240k Nissan or Skyline, just the same specs right through. Then you got Corona Mark II, Cressida later on.
The Japanese onslaught, wasn't it?
Yes, and then, but the real legacy of the Triumph was that it prepared the market for the VB Commodore. Same dimensions, very similar spec, very similar approach, very similar priorities.
And when you're talking about spec, you're talking about the top level Commodore, the SLE, because that's really, really similar.
Exactly, and it had very similar appointments and finish, and the guys who defined the Commodore SLE in this country were very much aware that they were taking place of Triumphs and those sorts of vehicles. So, yeah, it certainly lived on, but not as a Triumph.
What a lost opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this wood grain look at one of Britain's finer but unappreciated sporting saloons. And we'll catch you next time on Shannons Club TV.